here we go.
Eh, it's get get the work get your weather gear out. The forecast calls for blizzard.
All right, folks. It's Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor BS Busters. I'm joined by the usual suspects. We'll start with the lady first, then the gentleman, and then we'll dive into it.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages to the Mr. Midweek Podcast. I am Joe Ray on Star, and oh God, not again!
All right, Kenoshi.
Scotia Abominito, here to say, it just keeps on going.
Yeah. You could. I mean, it's almost like diarrhea, where you think.
You think it's over, but then it comes back for a second round.
Yeah, you think whatever you ate is out of your system. You're like, okay, it's done. I can. You know.
Get up.
I can finally relax. I can sit down. I can lay down. Whatever. And maybe an hour passes, and then all of a sudden you're like, nope, got to get up, run to the bathroom again. It's like that. You're like, yeah, it's over. There's no more of this. No. We're not done yet.
Yeah. And of course, the owner and proprietor of the BS Busters himself, Mr. Red Fox.
Yeah, it's me, Mr. Red Fox, owner and proprietor of BS Busters. We got some really interesting stuff going on today, and I don't know what to say. So we got a lot of news. I'll be giving my thoughts on the Ascent. I beat the game, and I'm not going to go into spoilers, but the game is more clever than it has any business being. I enjoy it. There's going to be a James Bond board game, which you get to play as a villain trying to kill Mr. Bond, which is awesome.
Hopefully they will not fall into the same traps as their real life counterparts.
I don't know. Any game that lets me try and kill James Bond, I'm pretty high up on, because James Bond is always fucking up people's plans. So then you've got former Elder Scrolls devs. Now, before anyone starts talking shit, this is Elder Scrolls before Todd Howard took over. These are like the old, Elder Scrolls Arena, Daggerfall, Morrowind. Like these are the OG people, Elder Scrolls people.
These are the founders of the series, right?
But yeah, basically, I was about to say that's not accurate, but thinking about it, yes. So they're announcing a game called Wayward Realms, which this game has been on my radar for a while, but I've heard that it's in pre-production, like early stuff, maybe a little bit of just a general thing. We've got Tales of Arise might have a demo coming. I pre-ordered this game, so I'm looking forward to it. And we got more Activision Blizzard bullshit.
Yeah, so we'll be putting on our winter gear for when that ground storm comes.
Or from henceforward, we'll just call it the all bullshit bulletin. Activision Blizzard bulletin, all bullshit bulletin. It works. Let's see here. Valve and AMD buddy up to improve Steam Deck CPU performance on Linux. We'll keep on talking about it. So, I guess we'll tackle the bad news first, because that'll be easier.
Oh boy, I better get the winter gear then.
So basically, Activision Blizzard made some moves this week. They're basically doing what Ubisoft did: fire a few high-profile names without actually dealing with the real issues of what's going on. So they fired J. Allen Brack and the head of HR. And J. Allen Brack and his is being replaced by Jen O'Neill and Mike Ibarra as co-heads. Your guys' thoughts on this?
What was the statement? Sorry.
J. Allen Brack has been fired. He wrote this basic. It almost comes across as a hostage letter. about how, like, I have to leave so that the real problem. Basically, they're making J. Allen Brack fall on his sword. Because the real issue is that this is systemic. This isn't like, okay, we fire a few people and it's going to go under. This is a major systemic problem within the organization. It starts at the top and works its way down. So really, this is like a Bobby Kotick, HR, the studio heads are the problem. They need to wipe out all of the heads and start from scratch. And bring new people in. Because like the state of California is suing Blizzard, and they've been doing this investigation for 2 goddamn years. So the fact that Blizzard's acting like, I can't believe this, that's bullshit. Because investigations like this, people would have known this shit was coming. Yeah, and then not only is the company being sued, and all these people are being fired.
And it's by the state of California, no less.
Yeah.
Investors want some money on this too.
The investors have filed a lawsuit saying that Bobby Kotick hid this information years ago in order to make himself look good and keep the company shares up, even though it should have been disclosed that they were under investigation and shit like that. And that these things were going down. So basically, I don't know where to go from here. Do you?
If anything, this is a good sign that Blizzard is about to take a big fall.
Yeah.
And if anything, it's best to get your lawn chair, get some popcorn, and watch the fireworks.
I'm glad I didn't give money to Activision Blizzard for anything over the last few years. I didn't give them time or money. Like I said, I got the Blizzard arcade collections, which is kind of a misnomer because Blizzard's never had a game in the arcades at all. And when I saw that you had to unlock Lost Vikings 2, I was like, yeah, I'm not into this. Because it had Lost Vikings, Blackthorn, and I think another game on there, Rock and Roll Racing. And, or maybe it was Rock and Roll Racing. And I'm like, this is kind of... Like, Blizzard had more games than this back in the 16-bit era, but whatever. And I returned it on Steam. I was like, yeah, this is doing it for me, and I got my money back. But, yeah, these are all just kind of like token things. These are just public token public gestures to make it seem like they're interested in what's going on. But what's really going on is that they're luring up with a law firm that basically helps fucked up, crazy, evil mega corporations get away with doing fucked up, evil shit. So
Amazon, and surprisingly, goes all the way back to Nazis.
Yeah, Nazi war criminals. Their latest client was Amazon with their union busting that they did in Alabama to keep people from organizing so that they could actually fucking
get some health.
Just basic shit, like not be worked into the ground like a lamppost being, piled down into there. So, what do you guys have to say about it?
As I said, I'm watching the fireworks, but I'm kind of surprised that they're going this deep into. They're trying to go this far deep. It's getting to look worse than the He-Man mess up.
Well, the He-Man show was just Kevin Smith sticking his foot in his mouth, which he does that. Whether you like Kevin Smith or dislike Kevin Smith, he has a tendency to stick his foot in his mouth. Foot and mouth disease. That's very different from people being women being groped. Cubicle crawls where dudes would get drunk and go around inappropriately touching women underneath cubicles and taking pictures of their panties. unsolicited touching, coercive rape. That's a completely like that. Those are not of the same magnitude or even in the same scope or degree.
I was gonna say they somehow managed to out outdo Yubi ship.
Slightly, by an eyelash. You know how thin an eyelash is? That's how worse Activision is at this point. Like you know, like when someone barely gets a D when they were gonna fail that course. That's basically what you know.
To this day, I thought it would be by a foot because of the fact that
No,
there is actual death in their group.
a foot is long. Yeah, but I mean that we know of. Like how many people do we know may have like how many young developers do we know at Ubisoft who may have like may have been their favorite job and due to the circumstances, the mental anguish of working at Ubisoft, you know, because Ubisoft employs thousands of people because they have hundreds of people in different studios across the world. How many people statistically, maybe one or two people may have committed suicide due to that hostile work environment. So I don't want to say they're absolutely worse, but it's been documented that Activision thus far is worse. But
I would say it because you don't know how many are confirmed or not.
yeah, that's the thing. We don't have the information, but I'm just going by, you know.
Okay, I could at least say half a foot at worst.
I'd say a quarter of a third of an inch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very small.
Margin.
It's a very small margin. It's not like, oh my god, these people are like the absolute worst. No, not really. But Kenoshi, you have any thoughts on it?
Not really. It's just, like I said, nobody's gonna go to. I mean, I guess the best thing at this point that could happen is that everybody just stops playing their games and stops.
Stop entering the Blizzard.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, it's looking like people are doing that. It's looking like a lot of people are abandoning World of Warcraft. Now, here's the thing. If they can do this for a year, if people can abandon World of Warcraft for a year, not a complete year, but for a decent, for 1 year, just don't play World of Warcraft for a complete year. Void your subscription, don't play for a year. Go play other shit. Because there's other MMOs that deserve your money over World of Warcraft. There's Elder Scrolls Online, there's Guild Wars 2.
I was gonna say that the funny thing is that most MMOs are trying to beat World of Warcraft.
Shit, go play SWTOR. Which SWTOR is just a shitty World of Warcraft clone with a Star Wars skin. But it's still better than Warcraft at this point.
I had to say, because I can hear a burn in that statement.
So, well, it is. I mean, that's basically what SWTOR is. It's just a better. SWTOR is basically just a better. Like it's a World of Warcraft clone in terms of like combat and mechanics, but it's got a better story because BioWare, and it's like a Star Wars skin. So if you're into if you want to play a Star Wars MMO that was like World of Warcraft, there's SWTOR. That's basically all it is. So, but anyway, yeah. So what are your guys? You guys have any more thoughts about Activision Blizzard before we move on to the next topic?
Hopefully, we won't have more of this to report for at least until the next podcast.
Well, knock on wood, hopefully their employees can get their union together and actually form a union, because if there ever was a group of what are supposed to be white-collar workers who definitely need a fucking union, it's video game developers. They damn sure need a union. Okay? Because crunch time is not good for gaming. It's not good for gaming. It's because how good can a game be when you were coding on it for 24 hours straight?
It's gonna be as good as, well,
Shit.
a walking zombie.
you know, like, I don't know why companies think grinding their employees into dust to get something out is gonna make it okay, because it's not.
I was gonna say they probably do it because they want it to be as finished as possible, and they don't and they don't and they probably disable the brakes.
Well, I hate to break this to people, but all this shit was enabled by Microsoft adding the hard drive to the Xbox, the OG Xbox. Because think about it, before then, like, games would get to a certain point. Then a month to 3 months before the game shipped, that was it. It went gold. That was the final, and any issues would have to be fixed in a reprinting of that hardware. And developers had a point in time where they were like, okay, I can rest now. Now, people can ship broken, unfinished pieces of shit out the door, and you can't do anything about it. Just like, well, that's the business. People will code things on the final day going out the door, which, I mean, this has always been a thing in PC gaming. Because a game might have the specs to run a game, but it might have a different CPU, a different GPU, a different sound card. Like, people had different configurations. So, you couldn't code. There was no there was no unified code for what PC build might exist. So it made sense that, like, not every game would run smoothly on PC, because there were different types. Like, I mean, now we live in a world now where everything is pretty much unified behind x64 architecture, and in terms of, like, computer usage, everything is unified behind x64, x32, and Linux. But back in the day, you had like 6, 7 different PC manufacturers, all of them with their own with their own architecture, basically. So, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying that's a reason why you would have, like, games come out with, like, that were kind of buggy and, maybe didn't run as well, even though you had the specs. It's different now. But let's get to the second topic.
Hopefully, it's a lot better than the first.
Overrated franchises. And I gotta go. Someone's calling me. Shit. I gotta take a phone call. It's gonna be like 10 minutes. You guys start with it, and then I'll come back and finish it. Okay?
Right. Okay, overrated franchises. I'm gonna probably name 2, and it's probably gonna be fun. It's gonna be the red and blue. Mario and Sonic.
Overrated franchises?
Yeah, at least to some degree, I feel like those 2 are overrated.
Why do you think that?
Well, for one, for Sonic, I'd say he's overrated because people use him a lot to try to say that he's the icon of what speed and platforming is supposed to be. And how many of those speedy platformers have Sonic done well in?
I mean, yeah, 2D ones were alright. 3D ones were pretty rough. I haven't even seen Sonic 3D clones that did the whole 3D Sonic thing a lot better.
I get you on that.
I think
So,
Pokemon was overrated.
so the other one, Mario, it's kind of like I feel like he's overrated because basically he's the template of platformers. As in you barely could go to a platform without trying to compare them to the big red man himself. And some and Mario's platforming adventures have ranged from well, great to iffy. I mean, he's got he's got more range than Sonic, that's for sure. But still, and so much of that is true that well, you you got Mario Maker. So if we ever get a Sonic Maker, I honestly fear for some people because they're gonna find out how how terrible Sonic is with platforming in a sense.
All my franchises.
At least that's what I feel like when it comes to overrated. How about you, Kanosh?
Uh, I was to say, Assassin's Creed, yeah, it's a bit overrated. I think the first couple games were decent in the expansions, but after that, it seems like they lost the
It
plot.
takes a while.
I don't know, it should have just been a trilogy or something. But completely screwed that.
As in as in the storyline of Assassin's Creed went from interesting to boring and plot armor.
Yeah, it just went too boring. Let's see. There's also Call of Duty's been beaten to death. Souls games. Souls games, the Souls genre in particular, I think are overrated. I'm just gonna focus on the Souls games. They don't control that well. The action scene is stiff, and it's frankly just seem kind of boring. It's kind of boring. I mean, I guess I get why people like them, but I don't know. I just think they make an excuse for poor design. Not necessarily poor level design, but how characters are controlled and how the fighting system is. Now if they made a Souls game with the smoothness of say like a Devil May Cry game or like a Bayonetta game, with a lot of those elements, I'd be a lot more interested. I'd be more interested in that game.
Well, at least I can understand that because well, I always feel like the Souls games get overrated, but and have bad controls that would make people wonder how the heck are we supposed to move correctly and save ourselves if the controls are fighting us as much as the monsters.
Yeah.
Huh.
Look, I don't have anything against like I know they have
Yeah,
like a weight system and stuff like that. I don't have
yeah,
any, I
that's
just
the
don't
thing.
like.
I'm not into. I'm not trying to shame people for loving difficulty. I'll consider you a masochist, but I'll say that I'll let you have your difficulty. Just try to remember that you kind you kind of asked for that kind of pain, and seeing you in pain because of something out of your control, it kind of makes you feel like you are one sadistic beep, and I feel sorry for you.
Yeah.
Huh. Though, though of course that would be a lot more dangerous if you think about it. Having difficulty so hard that it turns you into a masochist. Like, then again, that's what completionists do. All we need now is Red Foxes to tear apart of overrated franchises, but I can only imagine his is probably going to be one from the PC realm and one from the console realm.
Do you play MMOs at all?
I try to evade those because MMOs are kind of lifestyle games. You know what I'm talking about, right?
What do you mean?
MMOs, or massively multiplayer online RPGs, are games that are more like lifestyles. It If you work on the game alone and don't try to go into anything like rush to the finish line progress, then you basically are in it for some long time. It can actually take years to get to the end game of certain products, which which for some people say that's where the real entertainment begins. And you can see where that leads, right?
Leads into obsession?
It kind of leads into what World of Warcraft has been in a sense. That that if you that if you have that if you have stuff in it and you level up so fast that you skip over most of the content that is meant for leveling you up in your own way to level up the fast way, and basically skip right to the quote unquote good part where most of it's just random stuff that you're supposed to grab. You, all the stats are increasing by default, where you have barely any customization of your own, and basically it'll easily sell you the currency in order to help you buy the stuff that you probably would require.
Yeah. I'm back.
I'm not sure. Okay. Yeah, I'm not quite sure where you're going with that. What
As
you're
in,
trying to say.
MMORPGs are kind of a lifestyle game, and and they usually divide into two different directions. One is the long grind where you have to work all the way up to the level that you want,
So World of
and
Warcraft.
yeah, or you spend your way to the top and get into the stuff that's supposed to be late game while skipping over lore, some legacy items, and
RuneScape.
yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those things that you can play as you wish. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have to. You don't have to. You can play these games casually. It's not like there's a ton of people that do. I mean, don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. There are people that are really weird
Yeah,
about.
but as I said, MMORPGs are kind of lifestyle games because they ask so much of you to get certain goals.
Well, it depends on how you play it. If you're one of those people who's into crafting in World of Warcraft, and that's your thing, crafting typically you're not going to get the same character growth from crafting or a more pacifistic run than PVE
Raid.
and doing missions and stuff like that. Well, it just depends because typically speaking, you're playing MMO. It's going to break down into three distinct types of players. Now, typically you get a hybridization between these three, but they fall into one of three things. You got people who are in it for the PVE. They'll bundle up. They'll team up with other people, but they're there for the more RPG aspect of the MMO. So it's a lot of PVE and story missions. SWTOR, I will give credit to this. SWTOR has some of the best PvE I've seen in MMO in a long time. The only other game that I think is on that level is maybe Guild Wars. Guild Wars 2. The first Guild Wars and Guild Wars 2. Then you get World of Warcraft, which is more PvP and PvE kind of combined. Like it's a balance between the two, which depends on how you want to play it. Like I know people who the only time they'll play World of Warcraft is when they're playing with their friends, doing missions with their friends. You know, their entire mission structures that are devised around clans doing shit together and people butting up with their clan members. So, you know, it is what it is. Then you've got the lifestyle players who are like, you know, I'm not actually fighting, I'm a craftsman, so I'm leveling up my ability to make, to build buildings or make boats or stuff like that.
It's the pacifist versus PvE versus PvP.
Yeah. Not to say that pacifist characters can't get in your ass if they need to, because I remember playing, well, I didn't play it, but I remember seeing some shit where it was like, okay, this is ridiculous. Breaking news.
Please don't be UB. No, please don't. I mean, please don't be Activision Blizzard.
It is. Frances Townsend, who earned the ire of Activision employees and fans with her defensive response to a lawsuit alleging widespread sexual harassment and a frat boy culture at the company, has deleted her Twitter account. Townsend pulled the plug after retweeting last week an article, an Atlantic article on the problem with whistleblowing, which sparked an immediate and furious backlash. Townsend only joined Activision Blizzard in March 2021 as executive vice president for corporate affairs, prior to which she had a long career in the U.S. Justice Department under the Clinton and Bush administrations. In 2004, she was made assistant to the president for Homeland Security and Counterterrorism under Bush, becoming a key player in the war on terror, particularly with regard to intelligence gathering. In that role, she toured the notorious Abu Ghraib prison. You know, the prison where they had those pictures of those fucking guards torturing those people and having barking German shepherds near their junk, which, according to a Washington Post report, resulted in interrogators feeling pressured to intensify intelligence gathering efforts at the prison. Abu Ghraib became infamous for the rampant abuse and mistreatment of prisoners at the hand of U.S. troops and agents that came to light following a CBS report in 2004.
She's only been there for 5 months.
Yeah, well, they needed a woman.
Apparently the CEO of Blizzard is on Epstein's list. I think I mentioned that.
Who, Bobby Kotick?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, Bobby Kotick is the highest paid video game CEO in the industry. Like, you thought Andrew Wilson was a rich, greedy piece of shit? You thought Yves Guillemot was a rich, greedy piece of shit? You meet the king of rich, greedy pieces of shit in the video game industry, Bobby Kotick.
If I were Bobby Kotick, I would just cut my losses and go retire somewhere on this island.
Yeah, but man, where is he gonna be paid to be a rich piece of shit and just fuck people over and think of evil ways to make money other than Activision Blizzard?
I don't know. I mean, you just figure it's like the problem with a lot of these guys. It's like, well, that's enough evil for me. I'm just gonna go spend the rest of my I'm just gonna go spend the rest of my.
What, pull a Bill Gates?
Enough money. I'm just gonna leave. See you guys later. Peace. I'm out. So I don't have to deal with the don't get punished, because that's how a lot of these people avoid punishment, is they leave.
Yeah, I would too, but you know, these people, you know, look, man, their greed is so great.
Their greed, I was about to say, their greed is as green as ever.
You know.
I hope I got that.
They're too proud of themselves.
I mean, I like making money too. I'm not gonna lie. Making money and being financially secure is great. But when is it enough?
Well, like, what's
For
his name
some,
said,
it's never enough.
like, I think one of the Rockefeller said, have you made enough money? And it was like, one more dollar. It's always just one more dollar to all of these people.
Yeah. When is it enough?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like trying to. That's like trying to ask Kirby, "Do you have enough food for today?"
Well, it isn't even so much about the money, it is more about the power. Being
Yeah.
able to screw people over. A lot of these people are sociopaths.
Well, I mean, in order for someone to be truly wealthy, like most of the truly wealthy people have sociopathic tendencies. Unfortunately, like as a matter of fact, if you look at really successful people, by corporate success, capitalism success, all of them have really fucking sociopathic tendencies. Like, you know, like if we didn't live in if they weren't in a capitalist society, these people would be under a watch list because this person doesn't have a lot of empathy for other people. But enough of that about that. I'm tired. I'm tired.
Can you be? Can Activision Blizzard keep quiet for at least a minute while
No.
Red Fox actually do something? Like name what he thinks is overpopular.
Yeah, I have three franchises that I think are overrated. Now, when I say overrated, I mean literally they are like they aren't terrible, but they aren't as good as what people may have you believe.
So you heard what we said.
I did not. Did any of you guys say Pokemon?
I said Sonic and Mario.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Pokemon. Pokemon is overrated, and I mean I'm gonna keep it real. Pokemon hasn't been good since X and Y, and X and Y isn't great. Like it's not like oh my god this changed everything. X and Y is just a really good entry point into the series because it appreciated that people who played this game didn't have a fuck ton of time to do the shit that we did when we were kids playing Pokemon. Like
Yeah.
it basically gave you a shortcut for effort value training. It gave you a shortcut for super effort value training. It made it easy to catch Pokemon, move Pokemon from one game to another game. It just really appreciated adults are playing this shit and they don't have the time to grind in this shit. And I appreciated that the game appreciated my fucking time. Um,
Yeah.
and then since then, it's just been a downhill spiral. Like the Alpha and Omega uh, uh, re-releases of Ruby and Sapphire were. How the fuck do you make a re-release, a remake of a game, and have less content than the original game? Well, ask the Pokemon Company because they did it with those two games. And I mean, then they released the new Pokemon on the Switch with Sword and Shield, and the new release
Lazier than that.
had less like they literally stripped out features to sell it to you later as DLC. Fuck the Pokemon Company. Pokemon, I'm done with it. My second overrated game is overrated franchise is Final Fantasy. Let's keep it real.
Final Fantasy, I have to say, it was good from 1 to about 10.
Yeah, Final Fantasy hasn't been good since I'm gonna give it 12. Okay, like Final Fantasy 1 through 10, they like I won't say it was consistently knocking it out the park, but like the era of Hironobu Sakaguchi, you got some good Final Fantasies. Overall the average was like I would say an 85. Okay, some of them were great, some of them not as quite as great, but overall there was consistency to it. Then you get Final Fantasy 12, which is basically a Final Fantasy Tactics RPG with some MMO uh, MMO type shell over it. But overall, it's pretty good. Then you go from Final Fantasy 12 to 13, 13.2, 13.3, and Final Fantasy 15. And those games, by and large, are terrible. And here's what I've noticed. The prettier Final Fantasy looks, the shittier the games get. So this Final Fantasy 16 looks great. So that just tells you what the game's actually going to be like. And my third overrated game franchise is Mario Kart. Yes, I said it. Mario Kart is overrated. I find Mario Kart games, like, there's only, out of all the Mario Kart games that exist, there's only two that I've enjoyed playing. And that's Double Dash and... that's it. I'm not even going to say two. Just Double Dash. Double Dash was fun. Because it actually was trying to do something different to the franchise. It's like, oh, you've got two kart racers and you can switch them around and their overall combined stats change up how your kart goes. Oh, that's interesting. And they've never revisited it. It's basically the same shit over and over again with minor differences. Mario Kart 8, oh, you can got a hovercraft. You can anti-grav. You can cling onto the wall. Isn't that interesting? I'm like, it's boring. It's boring. It's boring. I said this in my top 5 overrated franchises video, that Mario Party, not Mario Party, that I said this in my video, that basically, for all intents and purposes, Mario Kart is a basic bitch kart racing game. Okay, like let's think about it. The king of kart, like the Mario Kart that people cite is the first one that got them into kart racing, is Mario Kart 64. Even on the 64, there are better kart racing games than Mario Kart. And I'm taking Diddy Kong Racing off the thing. There's Snowboard Kids 2. There's Beetle Adventure Racing. There's Lego Island. There's Extreme G2. Like, there's better kart racing games there's better racing games on the system than Mario Kart. There's Cruisin' Exotica. There's Cruisin' USA.
The only thing that...
Shit, even Top Gear.
The only thing that could actually get you on is this. How long do those franchises last against Mario Kart?
Yeah, because Mario Kart's a basic bitch. It's basic, and people want basic shit. They don't want something that's got some depth and complexity to it. Diddy Kong Racing could have lasted longer if Rare hadn't been eaten by Microsoft and shit out like a turd. And personally, since we're talking about, since I took Diddy Kong Racing off the table, I'll put it back on. Diddy Kong Racing's better than Mario Kart. Yeah, I said it. But let's keep it moving. What games have you guys recently played that were surprisingly good? You were like, this is actually better than it has any business being. I'm shocked.
I would say for me, The Ascent.
I agree.
It really wasn't. It was a really good game. I was like, this is actually pretty decent.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be okay. This is just gonna be a shitty Diablo clone, and then I played it, and I'm like, oh wait, this is actually pretty good. So, here's some news for you. Far Cry 5 is free this weekend if you want to play it.
Let me guess. Epic.
No, I think it's Steam. Here, let me check. It's no, it's free. It's free. Yeah, you're right. It is free. It's free via Epic Game Store or Ubisoft Connect. Yeah.
I heard that Ubisoft Connect, and I just shuddered.
No, I mean the Epic Game Store is not great either, but
Yeah, but do you want to give it owned by the company, or from, or from something that you have a lot more trust in.
Well, I don't like Epic or Ubisoft, and I mean, I know this is gonna be terrible for me, but I got a deal like months ago, like $20 during the Steam sale earlier this year for Far Cry 5 and Far Cry New Dawn and Far Cry 3 for like $20 with all the DLC for all three games, and I was like, this is before this shit came out about Ubisoft, and I was like, why not? It's $20 because Ubisoft games very rarely go on sale, so I was like, yeah, why not? And I got it. And I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good. I mean, like, here's the thing: the Far Cry games under Ubisoft have become too grindy and stuff like that. But yeah. The Ascent, I have to agree, Kenoshi, is better than it has any business being. It's got the atmosphere down, and like I beat it, and I'm like, man, I wish this game had DLC. So that's just me. But that's my opinion. So what do you guys think about it? Joel, do you have any games you're like, oh, this is kind of
This, I was about to say that this one's a bit of a hidden gem to me because I honestly didn't think about it until I got a chance to try it out and went and purchased it. The Prinnies.
the what?
Prinnies.
That game where you play as the titular one hit and they explode monsters from Disgaea.
Yeah, it's annoyingly challenging, but kind of fun at the same time. Trying to be sure that you lose as few of those guys as possible.
All right.
It it's kind of a masochistic challenge. Trying to do the task with as few exploded heroes as possible.
So the game is basically kind of like Lemmings, but
Yeah,
with Prinnies.
except except the Prinnies actually can do actions, move, and don't need to be sacrificed in order to move.
Isn't this that game where you start out with like 9,999 Prinnies? And then as you go down, you lose Prinnies, and so by the end of the game, you're trying not to lose, like keeping the amount of Prinnies you lose, like below a certain amount.
Yes, it's that kind of difficulty in the game, and all for the fact that somebody took somebody's panties.
What, Etna's?
Yep.
They're like, yeah, I never liked Etna as a character in Disgaea. I know some people are gonna be like, how could you say that? I just didn't like her.
Consider her one of those girls that you want in your party, but you're gonna regret having to hear her for a while. You know, one of those characters that you want her, but you hate her.
Not really.
Like to hate.
I never really considered Etna to be a character I wanted in my party. I always thought Flan was way more useful. Flan was way more useful in Disgaea than Etna to me because, Flan, like once you level up Flan and her gun skills, like she's got a lot of range. She can do a lot of damage. Plus she can heal, which is just any character that can heal your ass in a tactical strategy RPG is way more interesting than a damage dealer. Because you can go to the Congress and build a character who fucking can do as much damage as Etna, even with her specials. So it's like, you're just kind of useless. And the whole Prinny's fucking exploding while you're fighting, which is great if you can use it against enemies, but if enemies use it against you and on higher difficulties they can.
Kamikaze versus blowing up in your face.
Yeah, it's like I'm not down with that, sir. Sir. Any other overrated franchises, or sorry, surprisingly good games that you're like, this was better than it has any business being? No? Alright. I guess I'll dive back into it. I got Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Started playing it.
I was about to say, hopefully those choices are not going to be coming back to bite you in the rear end.
I just started playing it. Like, I just down. It's like 130 gigabyte download, and so it took a while to download, and then I had to like basically, like create.
A new file?
Well, you start from scratch. You can't move your character over from your other saves, which kind of sucks, but whatever. No, I'm starting from Mass Effect 1, because the thing is, every time I play Mass Effect 1, I get 60, 65, 70% through it, and then I just give up. Not that it's too hard, like something else would come up or I'd lose interest or whatever. So now I'm starting with the better graphics, and I tried my best, my absolute best, to make my version of Shepard that I've had in every other game. Because in my games, when I do Commander Shepard, my Shepard is always a black guy. Because, I've always been really big about why are the main characters in these fucking games always dudes. I mean, always white guys. Like, I don't like that. So I try to have black guys, black people in my games. Like, I do an RPG. I try to make my main character black because, representation. Representation. But yeah, so I tried to make that character into a thing. And then, like, literally, I'm still on the Normandy before you get to Eden Prime, and you go through your tutorial, and Eden Prime is attacked by the Reapers and all that shit. So, like, basically, like, the game is kind of like, I'm still getting into it. Plus, I'm downloading cheats for it so I can cheat my ass off. Because while I haven't beaten Mass Effect 1 before, I've played Mass Effect 2, which basically gives you the overall story for Mass Effect 1. So, tis what it is. But anyway, what do you guys got to say about it?
I see
I was
that.
thinking about picking it up, but I heard it had a lot of technical issues.
What, Mass Effect Legendary Edition?
Yeah.
I mean, I got it for like $43 on sale. Like, if it was $60, I would have been angry. But $43, I can,
I'm gonna wait at least until it drops to 30.
All right.
Pick it up.
Besides, once my Steam Deck comes, it's going to be even better because then I can play it from bed, just stream directly to my Steam Deck. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Fantastic. It's going to be fucking awesome, brah. But, yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm not against. I'm not against. Like, how can I put this politely? I'm not against people, you know, adding interesting things to their games. I'm not against remasters. It's just if you're gonna do a remaster, it literally has to be a remaster. Like I remember, I was totally on board for the Mario 3D All Stars.
That's just what I was thinking. I was like, I'm looking at you, Nintendo.
I was on board with that, and then I saw they were literally just emulating the first, like they were and here's the thing, like you're gonna do 3D All Stars, and like here's the thing, Nintendo could have charged $100 for it and had all of the 3D Mario games on there, except for obviously it wouldn't have made sense to have Mario Odyssey, but they could have had Mario 64. Mario Sunshine, Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, and Mario 3D World on there, and no one would have said shit. And I would have been okay with it. But they're like, they're only going to have 4 Mario games, and, you know, you get Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and, no, 3. Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy. And I hate to break this to you, but Mario Galaxy is good. Galaxy 2 is slightly better than the original Galaxy. It's like if the original Galaxy is like a 92, Galaxy 2 is like a 95, 96. It's like just slightly better. Like little minor issues that I had with the original Galaxy, they fix with Galaxy 2. You know, and and there's no real bennies or anything. There's nothing cool, and they're and, you know, and not only that, okay, $60, roughly $20 a game, okay, fair enough. But then you're gonna have the shit on a fucking timer so you can get dummies with fear of missing out. Oh, it's a limited time thing. I gotta get it when it comes out. And this is coming from me, someone who has all of these original games. Okay, I have all the original games in their original format. So I'm not losing anything by you doing that. I'm like, if you're gonna do a remake, do something spectacular with it. And I know what some people are gonna say. Well, what do you mean? I've played a lot of remakes as of late. I played the Shadow Man remake, which is actually pretty good. I've been enjoying it. So, anyway, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to leave it alone. Do something else. What do you guys? We are at the. We got 30 minutes left. We have a little bit of stuff left, and then we can ride off into the sunset. So let's finish this off strong with our final topics, which are free topic and unpopular opinions. So let's do the free topic first. What topic would you guys like to bring up that you want to get off your chest?
Well, everybody from WoW decided to pick up and leave and go to Final Fantasy 14. And getting on a server is an SOB right now because
People crash the servers?
no, the servers are crashing. It's just that you can't. There's not enough room. You have to. You have to wait. It's trying to get into a server so I can play with a few friends. It's just a hard server to get into. And the best time to get into a server or have, the best choice to have is probably like early in the morning, like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I mean, there are other MMOs that you can play aside from Final Fantasy 14. There's Guild Wars 2, which I think you have to pay for that, but it's like $29 for the base thing. There's SWTOR, which is like World of Warcraft, but Star Wars skin.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
you know.
was interested. I was kind of interested in playing Final Fantasy before that.
Everyone and their mother trying to jump on that bandwagon.
Yeah, that's kind of. I was thinking about it. I was watching. A series of Final Fantasy reviews, and the guy brought Final Fantasy 14. So yeah, might check that out one of these days.
All right. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say shit. Yeah.
That's happening. You know, if anybody listening to this is interested in playing, it's only $23 for Final Fantasy Complete Edition on Square Enix website. So
That's pretty good.
Just before warned, it's not compatible with Steam, so you don't think you can buy the game and then buy the expansion on Steam and it's working. So that's kind of annoying, but whatever.
Square Enix got to get that money.
Yeah, that's about it. I've been enjoying the game, but yeah. What have you guys been playing?
Ugh.
Actually, better yet, what keeps you guys away from MMOs?
The thing that keeps me from MMOs is just
I say it's the investment because they ask for a lot of time, a lot of patience, and a lot of training.
well, mostly it's time. The only MMO that I'll actually play that I actually got really into was Guild Wars. And the reason I got into Guild Wars was because you paid a one-time fee and there was no subscription fee. Because I was like,
How do they stay around?
because they have microtransactions on top of that. But you can actually get a lot of that shit just from playing the game. So it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, I don't feel bad about, playing the game just by playing the game. Like I got into Guild Wars when it first came out, and then I kind of sort of left it a little bit. Like I went and played some other shit. And I'm okay with that. I mean, even SWTOR, like, I got into SWTOR when it first came out. As a matter of fact, I pre-ordered the premium edition of SWTOR because I was such a huge Star Wars fan. It's like, oh, it's going to be like KOTOR, but an MMO. And then I played it, and I'm like, this shit's fucking Warcraft with a Star Wars skin. Like, all the shit that you liked about KOTOR, where you could basically have different character builds, and as a Jedi or a Force user, you could, like, heal and do... Like, everything is just a World of Warcraft skin. So it's very regimented and rigid, and I'm like, I don't like this. And I basically maxed out 2 characters. One was a scoundrel, because I wanted to be my Han Solo analog, and the other one was a Jedi, and I was like, I can't play this anymore. I heard that the game got really good after that, but I just can't, I can't. I can't do it. That's what keeps me from playing MMOs. Just it's not even the time, because I have the time. Like, if you really want to do something, you can find the time to do it, but it's not the time for me. It's just, it's a money thing for me. Like, I don't want to spend a lot of money that, like, is for something that has no real value. It's the reason I don't play GTA Online. Because, you know, it's too damn grindy, for one thing. It's like, this shit is too damn grindy. It's too much. But, yeah. I got a free topic for you guys. What handheld games do you wish would make a comeback? No, just general handheld, like handheld franchise, handheld game. If you want to bring Tiger into it and knock yourself out, I wouldn't.
I was saying that for Dan to make me laugh. So
Yeah,
if anybody wants that, they can have Dan.
that shit died and it needs to stay dead as far as I'm concerned. Tiger handheld
The
electronics.
2D Castlevania games. I've heard good things about the GBA games.
Oh, yeah, they're good. I mean, Circle of the Moon and Harmony of Dissonance are pretty good. They're aping Symphony of the Night a little bit too much. But Harmony of Dissonance is actually really good, though.
I don't really like the art style of Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, so if they create something with a cell shaded look, Castlevania type game, I'd be into that.
I'd be into that. I wish, and this isn't really a game. This is just an idea. I wish Nintendo would bring back. I wish Nintendo would bring back having a dedicated handheld.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I mean, they're not going to do it because they're making too much money off of the Switch, but it would be great to have dedicated handhelds. Well, a lot of casuals bought Nintendo's dedicated handhelds, but you know, in the era of the smartphone, you know, like that niche of just handing your kid like a Game Boy or Game Boy Color, like, because I remember and this is just anecdotal, this is just my own observation, but I remember when I was in high school, right, like a little kid, like like middle school, high school. I would go to the store with my parents or by myself once I was old enough to drive, and I would see kids in the cart with DSs and, you know, 3DSs. When I was younger, Game Boys, Game Boy Advances, right, Game Boy SPs. Now, all the same niche that used to be populated with Game Boys, Game Boy SPs, DSs, 3DSs, 2DSs. It's just smartphones. Just fucking smartphones. Everywhere you go, smartphones and tablets. So I would love for Nintendo to bring back a dedicated handheld, but I can see where just like they were fighting for a smaller and smaller pool of a market, and it just wasn't worth going toe to toe. Because I mean, you're not going to out casual a smartphone. Even though, technically speaking, without a contract, most smartphones are way more expensive than even the Switch. Yeah. But parents don't think like that. Parents are like, I have a smartphone in my pocket, and I already have it, and I don't have to go out and get it. So, like, I get why they did that shit. But I'm just, you know, that's my own personal opinion. Um, like Clue? Okay, I got a good idea. Do something like Hitman, but have it be a Clue game. We have to figure out ways. Instead of you figuring out who did it, you're the hitman. Like, you have like 5 hitmen, and you have to figure out a way to take out your target without being, the most creative way to take out your target without being seen and without being caught and without leaving evidence. And that would be interesting to me. Because Clue was nice, but Clue is like kind of hard to get into if you aren't really into well, you're supposed to build up how whoever is the murderer kills the person by getting the cards, and like it's all random, stuff like that. Shovel Knight Dungeon Duels. I don't know what that is. Is that a MOBA game? It's a board game. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, as long as it's not a video game and they're still making Shovel Knight 2, which hopefully will be a 16-bit game. Which would make sense considering that the original Shovel Knight is an idealized 8-bit game. So the next one has to be an idealized 16-bit game. And if they do Shovel Knight 3, that's going to have to be an idealized either 32-bit game or a 3D game, like 64-bit style. And I'd be totally okay with that. So, anything else you guys want to bring up before we go on to unpopular opinions? Nothing? No one has any? Okay, all right. I guess it's my turn.
I could use like unpopular opinions for something I would say, but I'll hold off.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Do your unpopular opinion.
I miss handhelds and kind of wish that.
You cut off there. You gotta say it again. Oh, okay. I guess you cut out a little bit. Kenoshi, you have an unpopular opinion you want to share?
Would be basically.
Okay, you cut out there, so you have to re-say what you were gonna say, Jewel.
I miss handhelds and wish that they come back because I kind of wish to have something in my hand.
I agree. Kenoshi? Unpopular opinion? All right. Okay. I have an unpopular opinion. I have 2 unpopular opinions. My first one is about video gaming. The people who are saying we are protesting in solidarity, who play Blizzard Activision games and give this company your money, they're saying we protest this company's issues, but you're still fucking playing their games. That kind of defeats the purpose of protest, right? Like, I mean, like we have history. We have a U.S. history, like the busing incident, like the boycott in the South of black people and people who were working alongside black people during the Mississippi bus boycotts of not using the buses. They're like, okay, so we're gonna pay the full price of a fare, and we can't sit where we want to sit. We got to sit in the back. Fuck you. We're not going to use your service. And so literally people would carpool. People would do everything they could to not use that service. And the cities lost money. The companies lost money. That's what you got to, like, the only thing these fucking companies understand is money. Okay? You can't use their services and be like, I protest, but I still play this game. Like, that doesn't work. Okay? There's a disconnect. So you guys can't be doing that shit. Either if you're gonna protest, then you gotta cut it out completely, or at least like say, okay, for the year we're not gonna use your service. And here's the thing: you lose nothing by not playing Warcraft for a year. Nothing new happens in Warcraft. And believe me, it would be fucking tone deaf for Blizzard to be like, yeah, we're gonna have an event at Warcraft with all this shit going on. They need to be like rats pissing on cotton. They have a saying in the South, a rat pissing on cotton, which means quiet, okay? Secondly, my other unpopular opinion is this. I'm looking forward to Suicide Squad, James Gunn's take on Suicide Squad. I might give a live review because it's coming to HBO Max Thursday at midnight, so I'll be able to watch that shit. So, yeah. It's gonna be fun. So yeah, that's it. Anything else you guys want to bring up before we wrap things up? Anything you want to pimp out, show out, all that fun stuff?
You think we're for another Suicide Squad?
Well, I mean, there's another Suicide Squad that's coming out this Friday, but it's directed by James Gunn versus David Ayer.
Yeah, I was saying we're ready for another one because I'm not sure how we're enduring after the mess of one that we already had.
I mean, here's the thing. That movie had a good, like, the opening was good. The second, the second, like the first act was good. The second act was good. It fell apart during the third act, and it had Cholo Joker in it, you know, who was just annoying. You know, I don't want no beef.
That looked like the Star Wars Disney trilogy.
No, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Like I said, the problem with the first Suicide Squad movie is, like, they didn't know what the fuck they wanted to do with the Joker. Studio interference came in and they basically changed a lot of shit around for that movie. So what the trailer showed you versus what you actually got when the movie came out are two completely different things. But there are parts of the movie that are good. Like, Will Smith as Deadshot's actually great. But Will Smith is really charismatic, and even in bad movies he's in, they're pretty good. Because he really elevates the material sometimes. So, I mean, it's like, the first movie wasn't terrible. It's just, like, the problem with the first movie, like I said, is that the third act goes off the rails. They didn't know what the fuck they wanted to do with the Joker. And they, like, the studio wanted to make these groups of villains into heroes, which doesn't work because they're villains. These people are in jail for murdering the shit out of people.
I was about to say that the reason that they are probably doing this is to try to lower their sentences or get out of jail.
Yeah, that's the whole point of the Suicide Squad, is that they get years off of their sentence by going on these suicide missions. And, you know, look, the government wins. Amanda Waller wins either way, because if they die, they're no one's problem anymore. And if they go on these Black Ops missions and succeed, something gets taken care of. The real twist of the Suicide Squad in the comics is that Amanda Waller is one of the fucking biggest villains of them all.
Which is kind of weird, considering that she has to take care of the trash that comes into her.
Oh no! I mean, if you watch the first Suicide Squad, the end of the movie has a stinger where Batman's like, yeah, you got the Suicide Squad to clean up your fucking mess. Because ultimately, the whole reason the Enchantress was able to get her plan together is because she was working for Amanda Waller, and like the main villain was right there the entire time. Basically what I'm saying is this. Amanda Waller sucks at her job. The only cool thing about Amanda Waller is that she's the reason that we have Terry McGinnis, is because when Batman was getting old and frail and getting getting more damage during his missions when he was in his like late 40s, early 50s, like mid to late 40s, early 50s, they took his DNA and put it in a lady, and they were gonna reenact how Bruce Wayne's parents were murdered by a criminal. But the lady who they got to do it just wasn't going to go through with it. So Terry McGinnis had a happier childhood. So technically speaking, Terry McGinnis is the 50% clone child of Bruce Wayne. He's the only Bruce Wayne child to not grow up and be a complete piece of shit, though, because he wasn't raised by Bruce Wayne.
I was going to say that so far, if I remember right, every time Bruce Wayne got his hands on a kid, they had something wildly unhappy.
No, I mean his biological children. Bruce Wayne has 3 biological children. There's Damian Wayne. There's the kid he had with Serena. Catwoman. Forgot Serena Kyle. And then Damian Wayne he had with Talia al Ghul. And that kid is a little fucking psychopath. Which makes sense when you consider that his... Well, no, he was raised by Talia al Ghul and Ra's al Ghul, and Ra's al Ghul is
I remember the Al Ghuls were already nuts.
Well, they're a super assassin, Earth first. They're environmental assassins. Like they go around like trying to murder the shit out of people who are fucking with the environment. It's weird. But, so if you're raised by a family like that, you're gonna be fucked up. And then, like, once he got to a certain age, Talia's like, look, she drops off this kid that Batman doesn't even know about. Cause you know how she got pregnant with that kid, right? She date raped Bruce. She date raped Batman. She drugged him with an aphrodisiac and a zombie, and she
somehow managed to drug the Batman and
yeah.
have a night with him.
Yeah, she date raped him and got pregnant. She date raped him and got pregnant, and he didn't even know about the baby. That's some fucked up shit right there. Batman got raped. She Bill Cosby'd him. She Bill Cosby Batman. So think about that. Batman doesn't know that he had this kid. He's like, yeah, she drugged me, but I don't know what she did. And then, 12 years later, she drops this little motherfucker off at his house. You're a dad. He's your problem now. And drives off. That's what she did to him. I mean, come on, man. Okay, I will blame Batman for a lot of shit, but this is not his fault. Okay? It's not my fault.
At least he wasn't in a relationship with him like the other 2 gals.
No, he fucked Talia al Ghul. There was always that. Well, I mean, there was always that romantic tension, but he was like, I'm not gonna have sex with you because you're crazy. And
he was smart to remember not to put your dong in crazy.
Well, I mean, most of the women who Batman is kind of romantically linked with are crazy. Like Serena Kyle's crazy. Poison Ivy is crazy.
Wait, boned Ivy?
Oh, she's tried to bone him. She's crazy. Look, every female villain, let's keep it real, okay? Every villain that's always fucking with Batman is either trying to fuck him in some way, shape, or form. Even the male villains, like the Joker, really, all of that whole, Bat's Ivy. Look, he just wants to fuck Batman. Really, let's just keep it real. It's
okay. Thank you very much for that image. I'm gonna get a drawing cut to that. Oh boy.
We all know what's really going on here. We all know the truth, okay? And then he had, the other biological kid was Terry McGinnis. Terry McGinnis is 50%, due to Amanda Waller's meddling. Terry McGinnis is he is like due to super science, he's a 50%. He's 50% Bruce Wayne's kid. Illegitimate, like Bruce Wayne didn't know about it kid, and he's the most normal kid because he wasn't raised by Batman. Like he had like a relatively normal childhood until the Joker's killed his dad due to Dwayne Powers. Yeah, that's the only. But he had mostly a normal childhood. So.
I was about to say that's the second unofficial biological kid.
Yeah, but like the reason, like literally, they injected his dad with a serum that changed his DNA for a certain amount of time into Bruce's DNA. So he literally like Batman not only had no knowledge of it, he didn't even have the act with anyone. Whereas Damian Wayne, like Bruce Wayne, Batman was date raped. So you know that's. Yeah, the only child that Batman actually tried to make was the kid he had with Serena Kyle, which makes sense because, you know, everyone knows that Batman and Catwoman have that thing going on between the two of them.
Yeah.
That thing. That thing. Anyway.
I think that's a good topper for this show.
So with that being said, yeah, Suicide Squad, looking forward to it. It's another James Gunn slapper, which, you know, since we're talking about James Gunn for a brief little bit, if you guys get a chance and you want to see a really good horror movie, like sci-fi horror movie, watch Slither. It is a really good horror movie by James Gunn. It wasn't a commercial success. I think it didn't do that well at the box office, but it's really good. So, anyway, that's the end of this podcast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe. Anything you guys want to pimp out before we wrap things up?
I'm trying something else, so I'm seeing how it works. So,
all right.
I'll let you know how it turns out.
Okay. Kadoshi, anything you want to pimp out before we wrap things up?
No.
All right. I will have my upcoming re-review of Fallout New Vegas. It took a while to get all the footage together and everything like that, but it's coming together. So look forward to that. That'll be up this Friday at like 10. So, all right. So that's the end of this podcast. Remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell icon so you'll be alerted whenever we have one of our casts, so you'll know, boom, these guys are having a podcast. I got this up a little bit late today just because, you know, life happened, but typically speaking, you know, there's a lot of marketing, and I, you know, put this out ahead of time when we're going to have the cast, a good, you know, 8-9 hours before. So unfortunately, that didn't happen this time, but thank you for watching. Our next podcast is Saturday, 7:30 p.m. to 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully we will not have to talk about Activision Blizzard unless more news comes out with them being terrible, which, seeing how they've been going, you know, I'm not holding my breath that we won't have to talk about them. So with that being said, that's the end of the podcast. Rate, comment, subscribe. Peace and good night.